nationalism. And again, it's embedded in the concept of a nation state. But if you took the United States away, the Taiwanese, and I'm disagreeing with you a bit here, the majority of Taiwanese, the overwhelming majority of Taiwanese do not want to be part of China. Let me ask you a question. Do you think if the United States was not in Asia at all, that there would still be a conflict over the border between China and India?
Let me qualify. No, the qualification is important because if not for the United States, the conflicts would have been treated as border conflicts. And as you know, that China has already resolved peacefully about 10 border conflicts out of 14.
It's irrelevant.
Hello and welcome to another episode of India and Global Left. If you are new to the show, please smash that subscribe button. Also consider becoming a YouTube member, a Patreon, or donate small amounts in the link given in the description box. We rely on you. But the least you can do is to watch this show, like, share, and comment. Without further ado, let me welcome our guest today, Professor John Mearsheimer. Professor Mearsheimer is a realist theorist, which means he thinks the international system is dominated by great powers, and in their quest for security competition, sometimes we get war. Apart from theories, he has participated in policy debates. He was outspoken against the US invasion of Iraq in 2003, the US support of Israel, and the NATO provocation against Russia. Professor Mearsheimer, welcome to India and Global Left. What an honor to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's get started with China, because apparently what we are seeing with the tariff wars, the center of gravity of politics seems to have shifted to US-China relation. What are your thoughts about where this is heading towards?
Well, in the early 1990s, when China was still a developing country and was not a great power, the United States pursued a policy of engagement. And that policy was designed to make China a wealthy country and to integrate it into the international economy, to integrate it into international institutions. And the assumption was it would become a liberal democracy and we would all live happily ever after. I argued, and this was one of the central arguments in my book, The Tragedy of Great Power Politics, which was published in 2001, that China could not rise peacefully, and that in fact, by turning China into a wealthy country, the United States was in effect turning China into a great power. And the more powerful China became, the more difficult it would be for the United States to deal with China. I believe that is what has happened. I believe in roughly 2017, China became a great power. And it's no accident that in 2017, after Trump moved into the White House the first time, that he abandoned engagement and adopted a policy of containment. Now, up until Trump's second term, that policy of containment against China involved, number one, putting together a military alliance structure in East Asia that could contain China, and number two, defeating China in the competition over developing high-end technologies. Those were the two dimensions of the competition between the United States and China up until the second Trump administration. And now Trump has added an important third dimension, which is the trade war. And it looks like this is effectively going to end almost all trade between the United States and China. And all of this tells you that the United States and China are engaged in an intense security competition where there is a serious possibility And I want to underline that word possibility. I'm not saying this is axiomatically going to happen. There's a serious possibility of a great power war between China and the United States. So I would just say about the recent imposition of tariffs on China and China's imposition of tariffs on the United States in retaliation, that this is not terribly surprising, because as China got more and more powerful, it was, in my opinion, inevitable that the United States and China would be rivals.
I guess I want to take a step back here to ask you about your policy recommendation towards engaging in China, because quite often there is one aspect of your writings that is just talking about the reality. But then there are also aspects where you advocate policies. We have seen it in Iraq, Israel, Russia, and so on. So do you personally believe that the United States should contain China? And if yes, then what should be those means and forms of containing China?
There's no question in my mind that the United States should contain China. My theory of international politics tells me that as China grows more powerful, the smart thing for China to do, this is the smart thing for China to